The most important part of personal development is habits. Well, of course, this is a statement that we can all discuss, but to a certain degree, I think everyone is going to agree to this. There are a lot of books about habits and habit change, and probably countless amount of YouTube videos. Exactly 3 years ago, when I first started learning about self-improvement, the first thing that I wanted to change in my life, the first thing that I wanted to work on in myself was basically my habits. For a moment, my 14-year-old self really thought that if I exercised, if I journaled, if I read, if I meditated every single day, that I would be the next Elon Musk. But all jokes aside, there is one thing that we really have to understand about habits. We know that waking up early and working on something, working on ourselves, working on our business, working on a skill that we have is good, that is incredibly beneficial. It is a success habit. That is something that a lot of successful people do, including Tim Cook and Dwayne Johnson. They both wake up at 4 a.m. And also I can give you a lot of other examples of successful people who wake up before 6 a.m. But on the other hand, we have other successful people who don't really wake up before 8 a.m. but they are still one of the most successful people in the world, including Mark Zuckerberg and Elon Musk, according to Business Insider. So even though waking up early and working on something is something really incredibly beneficial, it is not something that every successful person does. And when it comes to other success habits like reading, exercising, meditation, those all are actually really beneficial habits, but some successful people do them and some just don't. But of course, when you look at the general trajectory, successful people are so much more likely to do those habits on a regular basis than unsuccessful people. So the question rises here, is there one habit or a trait that every successful person has? Well, I'm not really sure if the answer that I'm going to give to this question is 100% completely correct to everyone, but I do think that the number is very, very close to 100%. So I noticed one trait that all the successful people have in common, nearly all the successful people have in common, and a lot of the people who are unsuccessful do not have this trait. And that habit, that trait is essentially having an internal locus of control, whereas other unsuccessful people have an external one. So what is the locus of control? Locus of control is the degree to which people believe that they, as opposed to external forces, have control over the outcome of events in their lives. So you watching this video, you either have an external locus of control or an internal locus of control, even though this topic is not completely black and white. Someone who has an external locus of control would blame others for their lack of success. You might hear them saying, well, my life sucks because my boss is a jerk and he never understands the value that I have, so he never pays me enough. My financial situation sucks because in my state I have to pay so much more taxes than other people. Or you might be hearing them saying, well, my health sucks because of the quarantine I wasn't able to go to the gym for a few months. All these three things are things that people who have an external locus of control would say. They behave like they have no control over the situation. They feel like the life is happening to them. They are playing the quote-unquote victim card in life. But someone who has an internal locus of control doesn't blame anyone for their lack of success. If they don't have the resources, they get resourceful. It's like they look at the cards that they are given and they take full responsibility for the actions that they're going to take, how they are going to essentially play those cards. They believe that it is their sole responsibility to figure out how to thrive in the life, in the environment, in the situation that they are placed in. And this is something that we have seen very well in 2020. Last year, when the lockdown started, a lot of people were feeling depressed and anxious because they didn't feel like they have any control over their lives. They felt like life was just playing with them. Most people saw quarantine as a huge opposition instead of an opportunity. Quarantine was the reason why they weren't in shape. Quarantine was the reason why they weren't motivated to essentially work on themselves, to work on their goals. But as you can see, these things are things that someone who has an external locus of control would say. That person feels like he has no control over his life. That person feels like he is the victim of his life. They behave like all the cards are given to them and they have no idea how to play with them. They feel like life is happening to them. But, for example, unlike a lot of people, for me personally, I do think that the quarantine, the last 8-9 months of my life were basically the best times that I had in my life, because I had the whole time in the world to work on myself, to do whatever I wanted to do. And that is why I think quarantine was incredible for me. I started this YouTube channel. I have been making personal development type of content for more than 8 months at this point, and I do not regret one bit. I started a school club at this time. It is called Peak, and we are trying to teach other people about personal development. It is something that I'm really passionate about, and it was only because of the fact that I had so much time in quarantine. And I also personally got into the best shape of my life, even though I got COVID-19 a few months back then. And these were only possible because of the fact that I saw quarantine as an opportunity to work on myself, because of the fact that I had that time, instead of seeing it in an opposition and just, staying at home and lying on my bed and just watching 10 hours of Netflix every day. That is what a lot of people did. So it really doesn't matter what happens to you. What matters is your attitude, how you actually react to those things and how you actually take action. So take a pen and paper and write this down. Life is not happening to you. Life is happening for you. Do not play the victim card anymore. Be the hero of your own story. Because not only you do have the power to change your life, you are the only one that does. So if you enjoyed this video, please consider subscribing to my channel if you want to see more personal development content just like this. And if you actually got some value out of this video, I think you will enjoy my other video, which was about why self-discipline is ruining your life. It is right here exactly somewhere on the screen and also on the YouTube cards. So I'll see you there.